So, what's the coolest thing about being the Vice-Chancellor of Loughborough?
That's easy. It's an outstanding university, and I have the privilege and the opportunity to represent the university all over the world.
All right.
And it's both an honour to do it, but also it's very easy to do it because the vast majority of the students here and the vast majority of the staff work to make incredible things happen. And being able to represent the university in that context is something that's a real privilege to do.
Must be special. What's the best thing about being VC, unrelated to the fact that you're representing Loughborough?
So people occasionally say to me, during your time at Loughborough, what do you want to achieve? And I can answer the question that you just asked in exactly the same way. I often think that my role is to work with my colleagues and to work with our students. So by the time I leave the university, it's just a little bit better than it was when I arrived. And we've made huge progress. I mean, since I've been here, we've gone from number 27 to number 5 in the league tables. Our research income is research income to die for. We've got the fastest growing South Enterprise Park in the country. We've won BUCS, that's British Universities and Colleges Sport, 40 times out of 40 times. Our students have raised, and I could go on and on and on. And the thing that, in a way, answers your question is all of those things, of course, were happening when I arrived. And of course, it's because of the quality of all of the staff and all of the students here that make those things happen. But that is evidence, at least, that things hopefully are continuing to improve. And so that notion that things will be a little bit better when at some point in the future I bow out, at the moment at least, it all appears to be going in the right direction.
All right, well, how long's your journey been going?
8 years. I arrived here in September 2012.
Oh, very nice. What is your favourite band of all time?
What's my favourite band of all time? That's a difficult one to answer, actually, because I've got such an eclectic change of music. So I think I can only answer that in two different ways, because I've got a wide range of music. So certainly one band that I've got a lot of music from is Queen, which I suspect everybody looking at this will know about. But on the other hand, while it's not a band, it is a group of musicians called the Tallis Scholars.
All right.
Who tend to do music that's from the classical rather than rock and pop tradition. And depending on the mood I'm in, depending on what the day's like, I could easily listen to one of either of those.
Very nice. Eclectic indeed. What's the most nervous you've ever been?
What is the most nervous I have ever been? That is a very interesting question. So, I'll give you a Loughborough example because it's something that the people who are watching this will level with. I arrived at Loughborough, as I say, in September 2012. Normally, a university will graduate its students, as we normally do, in June or July. But in 2012 we couldn't do that because we had Team GB here for its final training camp for the London Olympics. So graduation was displaced until September and took place exactly 7 days after I arrived. Now normally, if you've worked at a place for a year, you've had a chance to meet students, you've had a chance to get to know staff, you've had a chance to watch a video and see how graduation works. None of that happened. So as I walked into David Wallace for the first graduation day in September, I was very nervous because all of those things which you normally have around a little bit of time and a little bit of space to get to know the place haven't happened. But of course, what I realised immediately was I had a fantastic group of colleagues who were around me, who looked after me, and meant that once the ceremony had started and we were all on the stage and the students were beginning to walk across and shake the Chancellor's hands, everything was settled really quickly and my nerves went. But certainly in Loughborough, that would be a good example. I think the other one that I'd probably mention was when I had my interview for my PhD. Now that was a long time ago, but I had an interview for a PhD which was probably working, or if I got it, giving me the opportunity to work with one of the top 5 geographers in the world.
Who's that?
There's a guy at King's College London, a guy called Dennis Brunson. Now he's long retired now, But the reason I was nervous about that was I suspect there were many, many people who wanted the opportunity to do that PhD,
Of course.
and I thought it was a really long shot. But fortunately, I was the lucky one and he offered it to me.
Oh, well, similarly to me, I'm running for Hull chair, as you know. Do you have any advice? Because maybe it is a long shot. What would I do?
So there's one aspect of your role as Hall Chair which is absolutely no different to my role as Vice-Chancellor.
All right.
And that is, if you behave with integrity and you behave professionally, the students who've elected you will respect you in the role that you're in. One of the things that I have had the opportunity to do every year I've been at Loughborough, and I'm grateful to student union presidents who've allowed me to do this, is they allow me to go along and join the students who are standing for election on the night before results in LSU. And there's a dinner, and I have the opportunity to say a few words. And one of the things I say is that once you're elected, tonight probably your colleagues will forgive you your ills. But particularly if you're standing for Hall Chair or if you're standing for President of the Union, you need to understand that from tomorrow morning you're public property. And as a consequence, how you behave and what you do will determine how people see you. And there have been, alas, sabbatical officers in the Students' Union and Hall Chairs while I've been here who've forgotten that, and they've had to be removed from post because what they've done has not been appropriate relative to the privilege that they carry in that position. Now that's no different to you, it's no different to me, it's no different from Slowly, who's currently President of the Union. There's something where what you need to do is think about what you're doing and how you're doing it so the community that you represent continues to have respect for you and believe they've elected the right person.
Alright, well thank you very much. That's some good stuff to think about. So Loughborough's renowned for being quite a sporty place. If you could be the best in the world at any sport, just like that, what would it be?
Swimming.
Swimming? Why is that?
Because when I was a youngster, I swam. I didn't get anywhere near as good as the top Loughborough athletes, but for my age, I was a reasonably good swimmer. I knew that I wasn't going to get to swim at international level because I had a friend who was also a swimmer. He got into the Commonwealth Games squad, but even he wasn't good enough to get into the Olympic Games squad because remember the Commonwealth Game, England, Scotland, Wales, Team GB is the Olympic team. And so I decided that when he got into the Commonwealth Games, but then didn't get into the Olympic Games, there's no way I was going to make it in swimming. So that's when I decided that I was going to go to university and read a degree. So what I would say is if I'd had the ability, it would have been swimming because that was my sport, and at that point I might have stood a chance of being an Adam Peaty, which I never ever got anywhere near.
That's some interesting information. Wow, we've got some good swimming facilities on site, don't we? Do you ever pop in them yourself?
I do. So twice a term I normally go into the pool at about 5:30, 6:15 during the early morning training session and say hello to the coaches and look at what's going on.
Alright. Do you ever have a swim in it yourself?
Not this pool, no, because whenever I go in there it's always far too busy with people going at speeds that are faster than I could ever probably even walk up and down the side of the pool.
Alright, so similarly, you can have dinner with any person in history. Who would it be?
It would be Nelson Mandela.
That was a quick one. Why is that?
Because there was an extraordinary man who had a set of beliefs and values and he didn't compromise those for his own personal gain. And understanding a little bit more by being able to sit and talk about that, I find extraordinary. One of the things that I say about this university is we should never ever forget our values. When new staff arrive, I meet all of them in groups. I mean, I had a group this morning between 9:45 and 10:30. And I put up on the screen our values. We have a set of values as a university. And I said, what we should always do is remember those. If we don't, we may as well turn the light off and go home. So we provide excellent opportunities for students, both within the curriculum and more broadly. We do excellent research, but we do them to a set of values that we can be proud of. And Nelson Mandela had a set of values that he never compromised, and that's why I'd be interested to talk to him.
Very nice. What are your personal set of values?
That's an interesting question. So, in a way, they're reflected in the comments I make at the university about the university, but also, in a way, what I said in the answer to your question, any advice from this hall chair. So, I do genuinely believe that if you live life with a sense of honesty and integrity, people will respect you for that, whether it's your private life or your public life. Although in the role that I have, those two things are very blurred, and I'll give you two examples of that. There was an occasion when I was on holiday with family and friends in Gran Canaria, and on the Tuesday evening we were sitting out in a restaurant having food. Two Loughborough students came up and said hello to me. Unfortunately, I recognised both of them.
All right.
They said, will you come over and say hello to our friends? They were there with a group of about a dozen friends on holiday. And then 2 days later, we were out at a different restaurant and we were sitting, and two adults came up to me and said, Vice Chancellor, can we just say hello? And I was hugely embarrassed because I didn't recognise them. And I said, of course you can. I said, I must apologise because you're about to tell me that one or both of your staff at the university and I don't recognise you. Oh no, they said, but our daughter graduated 3 weeks ago. We were at graduation and we met you then. And we thought we'd come and say hello. So I said, well, I'm forgiven because the graduation hall holds 1,800 people.
Of course.
As they said, would you come and have a word with our friends? And so I walked over the road, and as I went over the road, they introduced me to their friends and said, this is who Sophie calls VC Bob. Now, Sophie was their daughter. So that means she must have talked to her parents, and it must mean that her parents must have talked to their friends. Otherwise, how would have they been able to introduce me like that?
Exactly.
Now, where does that come back to your own personal values? I think what I recognise is whether I'm on the campus, whether I'm shopping in Sainsbury's down the road, or whether I'm on holiday in Gran Canaria, comes back to the point I made to you about being public property. You need to recognise that there could be people watching you and what you're doing, and what you've got to do is live by a set of values that means that they want to come and say hello to you and introduce you to their friends, rather than being someone who they would rather ignore and say, I'm not going to go and talk to him. And it's exactly the same for you if you become hall chair. Think through how you behave, particularly when you do freshers in October, so the first years feel that they can come and approach you and talk to you and chat to you, rather than feel they can't because they see you as someone who's out of reach.
Well, that's some really good advice. I'm sure everyone watching it and anyone that will ever run for any position will get some good use out of that. How did it feel though, being in Gran Canaria, and having that sort of celebrity status of someone coming up to you and saying, VC Bob?
So I don't think it's celebrity status, because I think what it is, it's whether you're in a role. Loughborough's a fairly small town, we're a large university. I have the huge privilege of leading the university, and as a consequence of that, people will recognise you. That doesn't make you a celebrity necessarily, but it means that people recognise your face and they'll come and say hello. What I will say is, because you said, how does it feel? I come back to something that I said earlier. It feels a privilege because, of course, being in the role that I am is the thing that gives me the opportunity to talk to mum and dad or go and talk to their friends and so on and so forth. So I would say, how does it feel? It feels hugely privileged, but not to be a celebrity, but to be someone that people recognise and can identify with. And those two can be slightly different things.
All right. Well, again, really good answers, some really good stuff to think about. Now some more relaxed ones. What's your favourite country?
Favourite country? So outside the GB, I mean, I've never had any desire to go and work and live somewhere else. So on the one hand, this country. My favourite country to go to in terms of holidays and downtime is Spain.
All right, nice. What would you bring on a one-way trip to Mars?
What would I bring on a one-way trip? A lot of reading material because it's a long journey.
All right. What's your favourite board game?
What's my favourite board game? At the moment, Scrabble.
At the moment?
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been in the past, but we play quite a lot of Scrabble at home.
Oh, nice. What's the superhero that you identify the most with?
So, can I interpret that in a slightly lateral sort of way?
For sure.
So, someone who I think was a superhero because of what he did and what he stood for, and he was tragically killed for his beliefs, was someone called Harvey Milk. Now, you probably don't know that name.
I've not heard the name.
But he lived on the west coast of the USA. He was gay. He was gay at a time when it was taboo. And he actively supported those people who were less fortunate than himself. So he is a superhero for me because what he was prepared to do, and there are many others, I only use him as one example, he was prepared to support people who found they were in difficult positions in life purely because of who they were, and he was willing to do that in a way where he wasn't concerned about his own safety. Now that for me is a superhero. I mean, if you think about Spider-Man or Batman or whatever it is, that's the sort of thing they do. They don't think about their own safety and they have a concern for others. But what you don't need to do is put on tight clothing to do that. And what I, in a sense, have answered your question by doing is answering it by a real superhero who has had an incredible impact on a community rather than a cartoon comic character. But I think the principles are exactly the same.
Yeah, like you said earlier on about sticking to your morals and your
Values.
personal code, your personal values. This Harvey Milk, he stuck to him as far as you can go.
Yeah, go on to Google, type in that name, and you'll get all the information about him.
Wow. What are you most excited about in life at the minute?
What am I most excited about in life at the minute? That's a really interesting question. So, I think one of the things that I'm most excited about at the moment, I mean, I could talk about work, but I'll talk about a non-work thing.
All right.
Otherwise, it sounds as if I've got only one-track mind. I enjoy gardening. And the village that I live in, every other year, people open their gardens to raise money for charity. The village has a charity each year. And I've never taken part in this. And the people who organise this in the village, about a month ago, it was early in the new year, said that they were doing the open gardens and they asked me whether I would open my garden. And I said, oh, no, there are much, much better gardens. And they said, no, your garden looks absolutely fantastic. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is what my garden will look like when it's the open gardens and the money that I will be able to raise, in this instance, for breast cancer research, because that's the charity that we're supporting this year, purely from doing something which I love and enjoy.
That's a great thing to be excited about. If you love and enjoy it, then...
Well, it may sound really trivial. I don't give it as a trivial answer. I mean, the point is, had they not come to me and said, would you do it, please, I would have never dreamt of entering. But the fact that they have, and also because of the charity that it is, and the thing that I'm really enjoying and excited about it at the moment is, of course, I'm thinking about what I'm going to be growing, what I'm going to be planting, what's going to be in the vegetable patch, what's going to be in the greenhouse, and so on and so forth. So this shows that nothing more than I'm a boring 50-something-year-old. But I'll be really interested to see what it's like. In fact, what I might do is invite you out and you can have a look at the garden when they do this in June and you can tell me what it's like.
That sounds awesome. I'll hold you to that one.
That's fine.
Although you don't watch a lot of TV, you said,
yeah.
Any TV from history, if you could make a cameo in it, which show?
Okay, so there's one thing which I have watched recently, and it was purely by chance. Gavin and Stacey.
All right.
I watched the Christmas special because you may know that the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special had more viewers than any other programme on television over Christmas.
All right.
So I watched it on catch-up. I thought the humour was superb, so I've now watched every single edition.
And you'd like to...
Oh, yeah, cameo in that, no trouble. I'm not quite sure whether it would be in Essex or in Wales. Maybe it'll have to be... Do you know Gavin and Stacey?
I know of it. I've not seen all of it.
You need to watch it to understand this, but it's either got to be in Wales, or it's got to be in Essex, or it's got to be in a motorway service station on the M4, and I don't mind where it is.
All right. I'm sure some people watching will get that. I'm sure you get that. What's your go-to karaoke song, if you do that?
Very easy, because I've often been asked to do karaoke. and it's got to be something where you can sing and where others will join in. Daydream Believe by the Beatles. Because it's within part of the vocal range which most people find easy to sing. And even if they don't know the words, when it gets to the chorus, most people can hum or la along to it.
That's awesome. What would you say your spirit animal is?
My spirit animal? That's an interesting one. I've never been asked that before. And I would say the answer would be any animal that has a degree of inquisitiveness about it.
All right.
Because one of the things that fired me up earlier in my career when I was doing research was finding out about things, solving problems, trying to come up with answers to difficult questions. So it would be an animal which has a reputation for being inquisitive.
Oh, nice.
So what would you think it should be?
I'm thinking an owl.
Okay, so you normally associate an owl with someone who's wise.
Wisdom, inquisitive.
So what would you have as an animal that's inquisitive? I don't know.
What would you say?
Dolphin, maybe?
Dolphin?
Yeah, that would work. I don't mind that.
All right, dolphin works. One last question.
Fair away.
Tomato ketchup. Do you store it in the fridge or in the cupboard?
I don't have it. This is going to sound like a really naff answer, but I make my own dressings. I quite enjoy cooking, and so whenever I'm cooking for friends or family, you always make your own dressings to go on the food.
And they go instantly on it. You don't even have to.
So I can tell you now, in all honesty, if you go into my fridge at home, there'll be no mayonnaise, there'll be no sour cream, there's no tomato ketchup, there's nothing. There is some mayonnaise.
All right.
And the reason is that I tend to put the mayonnaise on the sandwiches I'm making on the morning, and it's quicker and easier to do. But you could go into my fridge and you will not, well, you could go anywhere in the house and you won't find any tomato sauce.
All right. Well,
so I can't answer that one.
I'll ask you another polarising question similar to it. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I don't mind pineapple on pizza. A good Hawaiian with lots of pineapple and other things on it can be really tasty.
Amazing. It's been decided. That's the final answer. Hawaiian pizza is a yes. All right. Well, that's pretty much all for today.
So before we go, I'm going to ask you a question.
Please do.
Are you still recording? Good. Why did you decide to stand for hall chair?
Whoa, that is a very good question. Well, I've always felt a social situation is where I love to be.
Good.
I talk a lot, sometimes too much, and I love doing it. I love talking to people, getting to know them, telling stories, and leading as well. Being in charge, not being in charge, that sounds bossy. Like,
Not at all.
being able to help people work together and I'm not sure why, it just feels like something right to do, like previous roles that I've had in sixth form and things prior to that. But yeah, I think I could really make a difference in Telford Hall.
Good.
And yeah, make it stand out. And I think I'd be good at it. I think that's why I decided to run. And also, a few people have told me that I should run for it because I consider myself quite a confident person, and it seems like you need those skills, so may as well just put them to use. And generally, hustings, the week, this week coming up, and freshers, just anything associated with it, I find really fun.
Good.
And so I'm not too bothered about whether I get hall chair or not, because I know that whatever happens, it's all going to be some good fun.
Okay, so that's a nice answer. Thank you, Rick. So you're elected, you're hall chair for a year.
Yeah.
What will people remember you for?
People will remember me for standing out, probably my loud clothing, and the unique things that I bring to the hall, events, ideas, probably. What would people remember me? What would people remember me for, Elliot?
Unapproachable hall chair.
I'm approachable. And yes, talking to them. During freshers, I think this is what made me decide to run for hall chair. It's all coming back. During freshers, Another hall took our slot to go into the union, so it all got a bit muddled up, and we were waiting outside for an hour or two. And so you obviously didn't know anyone. First day of freshers, and I was thinking. "Wow." So me and a friend decided to go up the entire line of Telford and try and talk to every single person that would talk to us, of course. And yeah, just getting to know people and generally talking.
Good
I just
effort.
love talking.
So here's one final one for you, and you may say if you want to, I need to think about that and get back to you. I don't want you to give an answer that you've not thought through.
All right.
So, how many individuals on the Telford Hall Committee?
There's 12, maybe a bit more. Less than 20, I'll say.
So there's probably around about 14 or 15, if the other halls to go by. So how on earth, because it's something that I genuinely find fascinating, it is almost impossible to coherently lead a group of 14 or 15 people in any organisation, in any circumstance.
Yeah.
How on earth can you do that as a hall chair?
So, thinking about it, each of those roles, the socials, the rag, the stash, the sport,
yeah, absolutely.
they all have their own domains
Yeah.
and things that they focus on. So generally, I'd say, and from previous experience in leadership roles, you let people do what they enjoy and what they're good at, and so they all do their individual things, and you kind of have to be the glue between it all to sometimes.
Shall we give
function.
you the analogy?
Yes, please.
So I really like the glue bit.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Let me give you a point to think about. So when you come and look at my garden in the summer, we can reflect on this again. What you have is a brilliant hall committee that's like an orchestra.
Yeah.
An orchestra is a brilliant violinist and a brilliant flautist and a brilliant cellist. But the thing that brings them all together is the conductor. And if the conductor gets it right, that's the best orchestra in the world, and everybody will come and listen to that orchestra. You're the conductor.
I'll try and be the best conductor I can.
That's
Thank
what
you
we
very
want
much,
to do.
VC Bob.
That's a pleasure.
This
It's
has
been
been
nice talking to you.
It's
Thank
been
you very much
amazing.
indeed.
Thank you. It's been more of a learning experience for me than I'd expected. I thought I'd just fire some questions off at you, but thank you very much. It's been awesome.
Absolutely great. Good luck with the election.
Thank you very much. That's been